Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Today's the 24th, it's February, and it's the year 2025, and you just saw this, except this is now attached to this. A company in Poland in 4 years has literally created this. This thing is made out of muscles and bones and fingertips and fingernails, etc. This is the absolute definition of mimicking God. They will pour demonic entities inside of this. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you remember what I told you back in 2017?
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. And if you follow this channel for any length of time, you know that I follow all the activities and anything that has to do with 𝗙𝗲𝗍 Rose, the creator, the money man behind the D-Wave quantum computer. And what you're looking at is a video I put up about 5 months ago, and I was explaining that 𝗙𝗲𝗍 Rose also has another company going called Kindred. And I showed all the stuff that was happening with Kindred. I even showed some of the things where he was quoted as saying numerous times, not just once, that a robot takeover was coming. I also showed where 𝗙𝗲𝗍 Rose was literally outfitting monkeys in exoskeleton suits and having them train armies of AI robots. Now, that's not what I was saying. That's what their website says. That's the news that they were putting out. And unfortunately, it didn't garner very much interest. We've also gone over ad nauseum, myself and several other channels, of all the built-in warnings in the HBO show Westworld, where they show the machines becoming lifelike. They're built lifelike. For instance, this woman right here is actually, according to the program, she's a robot that is built to be a prostitute, and people can pay money to go here, so forth and so on. And we were explaining that Westworld was a method for the elites, the pathetic little parasites that are currently in charge of this human realm that we find ourselves in. Were explaining to us exactly what their ideas and what their plans were. And it turns out I wasn't too far off, because here's 𝗙𝗲𝗍 Rose, the money man behind the D-Wave quantum computer, explaining and drawing parallels exactly like I did today.
All right, so if you're a fan of Westworld, you might be thinking about a robot takeover. One company is maybe not thinking about a Westworld type of robot takeover, but it's certainly thinking of ways to make robots a bigger part of life. Kindred is a Vancouver-based artificial intelligence company that's teaching robots to be more like people. And 𝗙𝗲𝗍 Rose, co-founder and CEO of Kindred, joins us now with more details. 𝗙𝗲𝗍, thanks so much for joining us. Give us a sense of the work that you're doing at Kindred with AI, with robots, and I guess how close am I to being replaced?
Well, the objective of the company is to try to understand.
Just real quick, take note that the green screen behind him is showing him sitting directly in front of what looks exactly like the Denver airport Kevlar rooftop that I recently got video of. But I digress. Let's listen to 𝗙𝗲𝗍 explain how he plans on very soon replacing humanity with killer artificially intelligent robots.
What goes on inside a human mind. And it's one of the greatest mysteries that faces science and technology today. And we believe that if we can deconstruct what goes on inside the human mind, it will be one of the most important achievements in the history of humanity. Everything that people do comes from it, and it's still largely a mystery how it works. Kindred was set up to try to answer that question.
Jordy, you folks are notoriously secretive about what it is you've accomplished and how far you're going and where you're intending to go. How do you compete in the marketplace with that level of secrecy overlaying everything you're doing?
Well, we're not all that secretive when we...
Okay, I can't stand listening to him lie. How's that? Kindred is one of the most... Anthony Patch and I... Remember when Anthony Patch and I used to have a... Was it twice a week or 3 times a week live stream? And we showed you Kindred. Nobody ever heard of Kindred before. I stumbled upon it. You don't hear anything about Kindred whatsoever at all. But suddenly, out of the blue, this company from Poland is literally pumping these things out. Look at how terrifying these are. And what they're telling you is, what the story is for the sheeple is, the robot will help with cutting bread, doing your laundry, putting groceries away. Who's going to buy a $200,000 monster to have it in their house? Do you know what I'm saying? And they're not the only ones. This is absolutely off the charts. They cannot wait anymore. They're showing you. But remember when I told you Westworld would come to life? Westworld was a precursor? Well, that's exactly what these guys compare themselves to. That's exactly what this thing is. It has synthetic muscles. These aren't pistons and pumps and everything else. It's synthetic muscles, joints. It's a person. It's a clone, just like the name of the website. Clone. Yeah, isn't that crazy? But this isn't the only one.
Right? There's this 5'5", 66-pound robot with an aluminum frame. But instead of looking like a typical metal machine, it's wrapped in a soft, knitted suit. Not just any fabric, though. It's 3D printed nylon made with a high-tech Japanese 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗍 knitting machine, so it fits seamlessly. It's quiet, about as loud as a fridge, and built to handle everyday tasks like making coffee, cleaning, vacuuming, and even doing laundry. It can even double as a mobile speaker system. Unlike the usual clunky, metallic robots with exposed joints and blinking lights, this one has a warm, friendly design that actually looks like it belongs in a home. 1X just released a short, 37-second video showcasing their new robot. In the video, you see this sweet, knit-bodied robot preparing coffee for a super happy couple. The couple is dressed in these earthy-toned outfits in an earthy-toned house, chatting and laughing together while poor 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗍 goes practically unnoticed. There's a part toward the end of the clip that has a total Wes Anderson vibe. The camera is outside the house. You can see the couple enjoying a glass of wine through one window, and then on the other side, there's 𝗦𝗍𝗍 just sitting alone on the couch. The video even leaves you with a slightly sad impression. It looks like the robot desperately needs a hug, or at least some acknowledgement. And that's actually an interesting point. If you're like me, you might already be kind of attached to your little Roomba, or maybe you've named your...
I find it highly disconcerting that this channel uses this face. Uses this face. This channel warns about AI, and yet this channel is, I would be willing to bet, is 100% AI. But that's not the only one. Don't forget, you got Elon Musk robot. You got the robot that I just showed you that's not even made out of an exoskeleton. That's what this is called. It's like armor, something that you put on your kid when they're playing hockey or playing soccer or something to that effect, or riding a dirt bike. These things are all soft, and now the new ones are made out of actual human skeletons, exactly like Westworld. So when we warned you about Westworld, there's another one that's correct, because we're here. But that's not the only robot. Let me show you this next one.
Google has several new AI developments that have attracted a lot of attention lately, and one of the most significant focuses on something called mixture of depths, or MOD, which addresses the problem of transformer-based language models allocating the same amount of compute to every token in a sequence. The researchers at Google DeepMind showed that it is possible to dynamically allocate flops by routing certain tokens through the expensive self-attention and MLP computations, while allowing other tokens to skip them through a residual connection. The idea behind mixture of depths is actually pretty simple. Instead of treating every word in a sentence as equally important, this AI figures out which words need more attention and which don't. It then spends more processing power on the important ones and skips over the less important ones, saving time and making everything run faster.
So all of a sudden, it's all ramped up. The name of that video was, he put out 2 videos in one day. And that's the name of it. Google's new AI can now think at superhuman level. Scary fast. Scary fast. they're exposing it all. It's all coming out in the wash right now. So let's say that you take one of these happy little fellas right here, and then you introduce one of these.
Hyper-realistic. This is a hyper-realistic mask that makes you undetectable. It covers your entire face, hiding your identity, and it only costs around $1,000 and is handmade. This is just a public product. So just imagine how realistic it could be done with a higher budget. It would be completely undetectable. Should we be afraid of how realistic these look? This is a hyper-realistic.
What if I told you you could become anyone? Hyper-realistic silicone masks offer a new level of realism that's both fascinating and a bit unsettling. These masks are so lifelike that they can mimic the texture, color, and even the subtle imperfections of real human skin. Intelligence agencies like the CIA could use these masks to blend seamlessly into different environments. What if I told you you could
Now think about this. Katy Perry touches her temple twice to reset her eye. Is this a clone? Is this a complete robot? Yep, the eye's down, it's closed. Touch the temple, the eye opens. Oops. Don't do it again. Everyone's looking. Don't do it again. Oh, that's fake eyelashes. Nope, it's not. No, it's not. How crazy is that? You take one of those faces and then you apply it to one of these things, and then you fill it with the literal spirit of a fallen entity. One of the Nephilim whose spirits can never go to heaven or hell, they just walk the earth forever. Hence, quote unquote, evil spirits. We warned you about this years ago, before this was even a thing. Their time frame and our time frame are drastically different, but it's all coming to pass right now. Westworld is now an absolute reality, as you can see. This is a trip. This is freaking me out because every single solitary day, AI gets faster, 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 and faster. You know what I'm saying? Now, a couple of years ago, I told you about this. Do you remember this bad boy? The 10,000-year clock built by Amazon's Jeff Bezos. $42 million clock that only ticks once a year. And Jeff Bezos is building it in West Texas. And they're building it right now, as you can see, or it's already done, one of the two. But here's a weird thing. Here's a strange, odd thing about this entire thing. It's built into a mountain, and the name of the mountain is San Diablo. I've been on every mountain range in the United States, and every single solitary one of them has some sort of devils, something or other. And that area is always off limits to indigenous people, because that's who I talk to find out what the origin of the name is. Every single solitary time, if it's got the name devil attached to it, there's a reason. That's exactly where Bezos is building this thing. It's impossible to get to, and it makes no sense at all, unless, of course, you look at these. Another YouTuber recently ran across this, and it's the Illuminati card game, where they're basically laying out our plans, but in the form of a game. It's a fun game. And one of them says, you wouldn't believe what's hidden in the miles and miles of Texas plains. And they're counting on that. And right next to it, here's another card. And as you can see by the arrows and the numbers, 6666, these cards go together. You wouldn't believe what's hidden in miles and miles of Texas plains. They're counting on that. Well, this one right here is a robotic steer, okay? And this one right here is a billionaire, somebody that's got unbelievable amounts of money, period, out in the Texas plains. Out in West Texas is where the clock has been built, the 10,000-year clock that makes no sense whatsoever at all, because think about this. Why would a billionaire have somebody whose credentials are, he used to work on Disney. He used to work at the wonderful world of Disney making animated animals. This guy came up with the 10,000-year clock, something that's never been done before. You know what I mean? And I have a thing for automatic watches. I only have one, and it's a Luminox. It's a very cheap one, but it's a good one. Why wouldn't you go to Rolex or Tag Heuer or any of the big guys that make unbelievable timepieces, the guys that built Big Ben? Why would you go to a guy that worked at Walt Disney World making electronic animals to build this? Well, because it's all a lie, as usual. But here's where the cards play in, and here's where Project Stargate plays in.
full day back in office included a major announcement about artificial intelligence. The $500 billion project is being called Stargate. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle will build data centers to power the next advancements in AI. Texas will serve as a launch point, with the first of the data centers being built in Abilene. The leaders of OpenAI and Oracle say the centers could change the future of medicine.
The data centers are actually under construction. The first of them are under construction in Texas. Each building's 500,000 square feet. There are 10 buildings currently being built, but that will expand to 20 and other locations beyond the Abilene location, which is our first location.
Because in the exact same location where the Stargate is going to be, they were building a superconducting super collider. That's what they told us. So they're underground in Texas, probably about 300 feet down, like CERN, and they're digging around and they're making a CERN, a Large Hadron Collider, basically, that would have graced the rolling prairies of Texas. It would have boasted energy 20 times larger than any accelerator ever constructed, and it might have been revealing whatever surprises that lay beyond the Higgs boson, allowing the U.S. to retain dominance in high energy physics. Except the story didn't play out according to script. 20 years ago, in '93, Congress officially killed the project, leaving behind more than vacant tunnels in the Texas earth. So they were building, according to what they were telling us, a super collider, which has to be way underground. So they were digging around for years and years, spending billions and billions of dollars, and all of a sudden they said, stop. You want to hear a funny thing that another YouTube channel discovered? In that exact same area at that exact same time, this happened.
Was it really the money that canceled this project, or did they just happen to find something as they were digging beneath Texas and they decided to back away? Who really knows? But flash forward to today, as you see in the news, these tech giants, they came into this agreement, this deal with Trump, a $500 billion contract for this AI program, Stargate. What some people may not know is that even before this $500 billion deal, Stargate was being built. The data center was being built in Texas a year before Trump's presidency in 2024. Look at this Reddit post right here. It says Stargate Site 1, Texas, January 2025. This was over a month ago. This came out 2 days after the announcement of this $500 billion program. And people said, well, how could they have built this so fast? Well, no, that is because, again, this was being worked on back in 2024. But my thing is, did they build Stargate or did they find Stargate? Is this data center built on top of something just like CERN is theorized to have been built on top of the Temple of Apollo? Think Stargate. The data center of Stargate is currently being built in Abilene, West Texas. And again, the construction had to have started in 2024. Well, something also strange happened in Abilene, Texas in 2024 as well, under Abilene, Texas.
For the second day in a row, an earthquake rattled homes in West Texas, but even some people here in North Texas felt this one. The 5.1 magnitude earthquake rumbled across the state at 9:28 a.m. The epicenter was near 𝗏𝗵𝗿, Texas. That's about 200 miles west of Fort Worth. Yesterday, a smaller 2.5 magnitude quake hit that area, and a 4.9 magnitude earthquake hit there Monday. If you felt the earthquake this morning, you aren't alone. We've gotten reports of people feeling the shakes in cities like Aubrey, Granbury, and even to the east in Saxe and Collin County.
So strangely enough, all of a sudden, 103 earthquakes in 1 week in Texas. Now, these are the plains. These are wide open plains. But here's the deal. These guys are building everything right out there. This entire thing is surrounded by tunnels that they just gave up on. But suddenly, once they start building for their AI supercomputer, they're literally having earthquakes like they've never had before. Now, here's my theory on this clock. Here's my theory. And I've talked about this before, long time ago, but I didn't realize it was going to tie into this entire thing that makes absolutely no sense. A clock that ticks once every year. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. None of that, mechanically, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever at all. But I think this has something to do with this. the 𝗦𝗙𝗃𝗃 mechanism that I've talked about so many times. But I got a funny feeling that these two things, this was found at the bottom of the sea and blah, blah, blah. And we don't know what it was, but it was full of gears, things that made absolutely no sense for the timeline that they've given us. But everything they've told us is a lie. They've done this all before, and they're doing it all again. You know what I'm saying? Right where they're building their new AI, if you look at the sky, if you look at it from the sky down and then look at ancient Mexico from the sky down, it looks like a computer circuit board. We've done this before. We've done this before, and they're doing it again. And for some reason, somehow, everything is speeding up absolutely exponentially. I mean, this is creepy as F. You know what I mean? This is creepy as F. So all those people that think that we talk about things that never come to pass, we talk about lots and lots of things that come to pass all the time. Talked about so many things, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you one thing, without a doubt, Trump, Musk, I just posted this on Facebook right here. If you want to chat with each other, if you want a community, go here. Go right over to my Facebook or the RFB Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Believing a small group of billionaires are suddenly working tirelessly for the benefit of the working classes requires a spectacular level of stupidity. Indeed it does. And yet, that's exactly where we're at. We just gave the reins over. Doge is literally going into government and stealing every piece of personal information about you, every piece of personal information the government's been accruing on you, people like me and you over the years. It has everything. It's finishing up, it's gobbling up of all the information on Earth. And the White House and all that stuff was the last straw. They're doing this. It is what it is. But at any rate, Richie from Boston, for now, I'm out.